Part 6 of Wonder. You can see this house next door. I'm at a lake house, so this is the neighbour's cottage, and then down there is the lake. It's so lovely. 1 to 10. Mum always had this habit of asking me how something felt on a scale of 1 to 10. It started after my jaw surgery when I couldn't talk because my mouth was wired shut. He had a deformed jaw. They had taken a piece of bone from my hip to insert into my chin to make it look normal, so I was hurting in a lot of different places. Mum would point to one of the bandages and I would hold up my fingers to show her how much I was hurting. 1 meant a little bit and 10 meant, well, so much. Then she would tell the doctor, when he made his rounds, the doctors go round the hospital to the different patients, what needed adjusting, or things like that. Mum got very good at reading my mind sometimes. After that, we got into a habit of doing the 1 to 10 scale with loads of things. Like if I just had a plain old sore throat, 1 to 10, and I'd say 3 or whatever it was. When school was over, I went outside to meet Mum, who was waiting for me in the front entrance, like all the other parents or the nannies and babysitters. The first thing she said after hugging me was, "So how was it? 1 to 10? 5, I shrugged, which I could tell totally surprised her. "Wow," she said quietly, "that's even better than I'd hoped for." "Are we picking Via up?" I asked. "Miranda's mother's picking her up today. Do you want me to carry your backpack, sweetness?" We had started walking through the crowd of kids and parents, most of whom were noticing me, secretly pointing me out to each other. "I'm fine," I said. "It looks heavy, Augie." She started to take it. "Mum," I said, pulling my backpack away from her. I walked in front of her through the crowd. "See you tomorrow, August," said Summer. She was walking in the opposite direction. "Bye, Summer," I said, waving at her. As soon as we crossed the street and were away from the crowd, Mum said, "Who was that, Augie?" "Summer. She in your class?" "I have lots of classes." "Is she in any of your classes?" Mum said. "Nope." Mum waited for me to say something else, but I just didn't feel like talking. So this is interesting. If you think about the two different characters, how is Mum responding to the situation? She's been waiting all day to hear if he's okay. But he's sort of shy or embarrassed amongst all the other kids, maybe a little bit grumpier. He didn't realize that some of the things that happened that day didn't make him comfortable. So two characters, one situation, and they're both responding in different ways. And the other thing is, how would your mum or dad respond if you went, I don't know, nope, when they tried to ask you about your day? It's nice to let them know. They're only asking because they care. "So it went okay," said Mum. I could tell she had a million questions she wanted to ask me. "Everyone was nice? Did you like your teachers?" "Yeah." "Well, how about the kids you met last week? Were they nice?" Fine. Jack hung out with me a lot." "That's great, sweetie. What about that boy, Julian?" I thought about the Darth Sidious comment. By now it felt like it had happened 100 years ago. "He was okay." "What about that blonde girl? What was her name?" "Charlotte," Mum said. I said everyone was nice. "Oh, Charlotte, Mum." I got that wrong. "Charlotte, Mum. I said everyone was nice." "Okay," Mum answered. I honestly don't know why I was kind of mad at Mum, but I was. We crossed Amsford Avenue and didn't say anything else until we turned into our block. "So, how did you meet that girl Summer if she wasn't in your class?" "We sat at lunch together," I said. I had started kicking a rock between my feet like a soccer ball, chasing it back and forth along the sidewalk. "She seems very nice." "Yeah, she is." "She's very pretty." "Yeah, I know. We're kind of like Beauty and the Beast." I didn't wait to see Mum's reaction. I just started running down the sidewalk after the rock, which I'd kicked as hard as I could, in front of me. This chapter's called Padawan. Would you mind seeing if anyone who's watching this with you knows what Padawan is and what it's got to do with Star Wars? night I cut off the little braid on the back of my head. Dad noticed first. So it's a little plait of hair. Oh, good, he said. I never liked that thing. Via couldn't believe I'd cut it off. That took you years to grow. She was almost angry. Why did you cut it off? I don't know, I answered. Did someone make fun of it? No. Did you tell Christopher you were cutting it off? We're not even friends anymore. That's not true. I can't believe you just cut it off like that, she added snottily, and then practically slammed my bedroom door as she left the room. I was snuggling with Daisy on my bed when Dad came in to tuck me in later. He scooched Daisy over gently and laid down next to me on the blanket. So, Augie Doogie, he said, it was really an okay day. He got that from an old cartoon about a dachshund named Augie Doogie, by the way. A dachshund is a type of dog. He had brought it for me on eBay when I was about 4, and we watched it a lot for a while, especially in the hospital. He would call me Augie Doogie, and I would call him dear old Dad, like the puppy called the dachshund Dad on the show. Yeah, it was totally okay, I said. Well, the thing is, you've been quiet all night long. Guess I'm tired? Long day, was it, huh? I nodded. But really, was it okay? I nodded again. He didn't say anything, so after a few seconds I said, actually, it was better than okay. Oh, that's great to hear. So it looks like it was a good call Mum made, you going to school. And he kissed me on the head. Yeah, but I can stop going if I want to, right? That was the deal, yep. Though I guess it would depend on why you wanted to stop going, you know? You have to let us know. You'd have to talk to us and tell us how you're feeling and if anything bad was happening, okay? You promise you'll tell us that? Yeah. So, Dad said, can I ask you something? Are you mad at Mum or something? You've been kind of huffy with her all night. You know, Augie, I'm as much to blame for sending you to school as she is. No, she's more to blame. It was her idea. Mum knocked on the door just then and peeked her head inside. Just wanting to say good night. She kind of looked a bit shy for a second. Hi, Mama, said Dad, picking up my hand and waving it. I heard you cut your braid off, she said to me, sitting down on the edge of the bed next to Daisy the dog. It's not a big deal, I answered really quickly, and Mum said I didn't say it was. Why don't you put Augie to bed tonight, Dad said to Mum, getting up. I've got some work to do anyway. Good night, my son. Good night, my son, my son. That's another part of our Augie Doogie routine. Though I wasn't in the mood for saying good night, dear old Dad. I'm very proud of you, said Dad. And then he got up and out of my bed. Mum and Dad had always taken turns putting me to bed. I know it was a little babyish of me to still need them to do it, but that's just how it was with me. I don't think it's babyish. I think it's really lovely. Don't grow up too quickly. Make sure you make the most of your parents while you're a kid and while they're around. You know, otherwise you're going to go to university and you're going to go to work and you won't have them around. He stopped. Oh, will you check in with Via, Mum said to Dad. He stopped at the door and turned around. What's wrong with Via? Nothing, said Mum, shrugging. At least nothing that she would tell me. But it's the first day of high school and all. I'm sure she's got things to tell us. It's always something with you kids, isn't it? Never a dull moment, said Mum. Never a dull moment, said Dad. Good night, you guys. As soon as he closed the door, Mum pulled out a book she'd been reading to me for the last couple of weeks. I was relieved because I really was afraid she wanted to talk. And I just didn't feel like doing that. But Mum didn't seem to want to talk either. She just flipped through the pages until we got to where she had left off. We were about halfway through The Hobbit. Have you read The Hobbit or seen the movie? If you've seen the movie, try reading the book. Stop, stop, shouted Thorin, said Mum, reading aloud. But it was too late. The excited dwarves had wasted their last arrows, and now the bows of Borin had given them were useless. They were at a pretty gloomy party that night, and the gloom gathered still deeper on them in the following days. They had crossed the enchanted stream. They weren't at a party. Sorry, they were a gloomy party. A party can be a group of people, or a party can be when you go and dance and things. or birthday party, but a party could just be a group of people. They were a gloomy party that night, and the gloom gathered still deeper on them in the following days. They had crossed the enchanted stream, but beyond it the path seemed to straggle on just as before, and in the forest they could see no change. I'm not sure why, but all of a sudden I started to cry. Mum put the book down, wrapped her arms around me. She didn't seem surprised that I was crying. "It's okay," she said. "It will be okay." "I'm sorry," I said between sniffles. "Shh," she said, wiping the tears with the back of her hand. "You've got nothing to be sorry about." "Why do I have to be so ugly, Mum?" I whispered. "No, baby, you're not." "No, I know I am." She kissed me all over the face. She kissed my eyes that came down too far. She kissed my cheeks that looked like they'd been punched in. She kissed my tortoise mouth. She said soft words that I know were meant to help me, but words can't change my face. Maybe you could add to your profile of Augie if you're writing one in your book. We learned a bit more about his personality. He's pretty sensitive. I think he's pretty resilient, the fact that he even went to school. We've learned a little bit more about what he looks like, and we've learned how he tried to protect his family by saying everything is fine. And he's not made a big deal of it. He has tried really hard to enjoy school. September. The rest of September was hard. I wasn't used to getting up so early in the morning. I wasn't used to the whole notion of homework. And I got my first quiz at the end of the month. I'd never got quizzes when Mum homeschooled me. I also didn't like how I had no free time anymore. Before, I was able to play whenever I wanted to, but now it felt like I was either at school or had stuff to do for school. And being at school was awful in the beginning. Every new class was like a new chance for kids not to stare at me. They would sneak peeks at me from behind their notebooks or when they thought I wasn't looking. They would take the longest way around me to avoid bumping into me, like I had some germ to catch, like my face was contagious. In the hallways, which were always crowded, my face would always surprise some unsuspecting kid who maybe hadn't heard about me or seen me before. The kid would make a sound you make when you hold your breath before going underwater, a little sound. And then this happened maybe 4 or 5 times a day for the first few weeks on the stairs, in front of the lockers in the library. 500 kids in the school. Eventually, every one of them was going to see my face at some time. And I knew after the first couple of days that word had gotten around about me, because every once in a while I'd catch a kid elbowing his friend as they passed me, or talking behind their hands as I walked past. I can only imagine what they were saying about me, actually. I prefer not to even imagine it. I'm not saying they were doing any of these things in a mean way, by the way. Not once did a kid laugh or make a noise or do anything like that. They were just being normal dumb kids. I know that. I kind of wanted to tell them that. Like, it's okay. I know I'm weird looking. Take a look. Don't bite. Hey, the truth is, if a Wookiee started going to the school all of a sudden, I'd be curious. I'd probably stare a bit and if I was walking with Jack or Summer, I'd probably whisper to them, "Hey, there's a Wookiee." And if the Wookiee caught me saying that, he'd know I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just pointing out the fact that he's a Wookiee. They're just pointing out the fact that I look different. It took about 1 week, I suppose, for the kids to get used to my face. Well, these were the kids I'd see in class every day. It took about 2 weeks for the rest of the kids in the grade to see my face and get used to it. These were the kids I'd just see in the cafeteria, playground, PE, music, library, computer class, after-school activities. It took about a month for the rest of the kids in the entire school to get used to it. These were the kids in the other grades. They were the big kids, some of them. Some of them had crazy haircuts. Some of them had earrings, oh, and nose rings. Some of them had pimples, but none of them looked like me. That's interesting how he's evolved already in 2 weeks of school. I do wonder if he's going to cope and be able to continue to evolve. I wonder if he makes any friends. Curious. The next chapter is called Jack Will. I wonder if it's a positive thing or a negative thing. I wonder if they have a good experience or a bad experience.